take 3 of this video. Let's hope this goes well. Okay, guys, so this is an energy update. I want to talk to you a bit about what's going on with the planets. There's a lot going on at the moment, and then I'm going to do a bit of a card pull at the end of it. What I want to just say to you now is that I would suggest you guys go and get your natal charts if you don't have them already. It is your birth chart, and there is a place called astrologycafe.com. Okay, so it's all one word lowercase, and it gives you free natal charts. You do need to know the time of your birth, guys, and the place of your birth, and obviously the date. Time is important. Very, very important. Do that. We have a lot of Cancer energy at the moment. We're still in Cancer season. We've just had the new moon in Cancer, and we have got Mercury in Cancer retrograde at the moment, which is honestly kicking my ass. But here's the thing. If you go in and you get your chart out, you will be able to see where your Cancer placements are, what houses they're in, and then you get to see what those houses mean to you and how they are affecting you. So it really is an important little thing, I think, to try and do. I'm doing a lot more research on this for myself, because honestly, it makes a difference understanding how you process things and how you respond to things and. Okay. So just bear in mind that with Cancer, there is a lot of emotion running wild. There is a lot of that kind of intuitive energy. Cancerians by nature are compassionate and empathic, so make sure that you're checking yourself on that. Don't be too hard on yourself, but also listen to your intuition during this period. Okay, is what I'm going to say around the Cancer energy. But do yourselves a favor and go and get your natal charts, because there's a lot going on at the moment. And it will help you understand why certain things are playing out in your life. So, for example, I've always been one of those people who've been really nailed by Mercury retrogrades, and I've never understood why. After I'd gotten my chart, I went and did a chart ruler. I went and Googled chart ruler calculator, put my timings and all that in, and it turns out that my chart ruler, which is the planet that rules over your ascendant sign, which is your rising sign, whatever that is, mine's Gemini, is actually Mercury in Cancer. Because, why not? So now this Mercury retrograde in Cancer has been crazy for me. It's been really hectic. Now I understand why. Okay, and it shows you the positives of it, the negatives of it. So do yourselves a favor, is what I'm going to say. Astrologycafe.com, lowercase. Okay, right. So the other thing I want to talk about is there is a once in a lifetime planetary alignment at the moment. There was a French astrologer called Andre Barbault. Now we pronounce it Barbault, but I think it's actually correct. Not correct. It's incorrect. It's Barbault. So I'm very bad with French. I'm sorry, but we for most intents and purposes, everyone calls it Barbault's basket. This is. I'm using my jewelry here. This is a planetary alignment that happens when all of the slow-moving planets, okay, the outsides, Neptune, Jupiter, Uranus, and Pluto, all align in a specific way in the skies, and they create what appears to be a basket-style formation. Okay, so we look at a handle and then a part at the bottom that looks like the cradle or like the actual basket part. Okay, so Andre Barbault, I think he died in 2019, okay, but beforehand he had predicted some major stuff. He predicted the fall of the Berlin Wall. He had predicted the fall of the Soviet Union. He predicted COVID, just saying. And all of this, honestly, before he died, but he died in 2019. Okay, but I think these predictions were done quite a bit before, but very, very well known French astrologer. Okay, so he has this whole he had discovered this whole basket of this geometric design that happens in the skies with the slow moving planets, but like once in a lifetime, literally. Okay, now what he's explained as the handle would be Jupiter and Pluto. Those are the two that kind of create the formation. However, there is a tense opposition between the two of them. Okay. Pluto is a little bit about restriction and like deep diving and intensity, and Jupiter is luck and expansion and like getting out there. So you can see why there's a little bit of a conflict around the two energies. On top of that, the base then is done You've got Neptune and Uranus. Okay, but now Neptune and Uranus kind of cushion the blow of the top two. They are there to make things slightly more gentle, right? However, this is already in alignment, guys. It's happening in the skies now. It peaks in late July, right? So what happens when it peaks? He has predicted that this would be a turning point for global consciousness. I have got notes here because there's quite a bit, and I just want to make sure that I'm giving you the right information. Resource distribution, how we access that and how we look at that, as well as collective transformation and a new societal era. This is not a joke. We have been speaking about the divine feminine rising. We have spoken about how it's necessary for us as a society to evolve and to grow and to change. We are seeing that this old masculine patriarchal way is not working. This is a massive collective turning point. All right, where as a society we get to shift that. But it also affects us on a personal level. Of course it will, right? So this forces us, let me use the word forces us, to confront deep-seated beliefs. But like seriously, like deep stuff, right? Remember, we've got all of the outer planets. We've got Pluto and Neptune, which, let's be honest, I call them the divers of the astrology. Like, they expect you to go deep. This is not superficial stuff. Okay. We get a chance to look at specifically, we reevaluate our worthiness, and we get to foster new creative ideas and endeavors. Okay. So worthiness is always a big one for all of us. On some level, 99.999% of us carry issues around worthiness and what it means to us and how it plays out in our lives. So this is big energy happening at the moment on a collective scale, but also on a very personal scale for us. Okay, so I'm going to do a collective reading now just to see what we can find, a couple of questions to see what we can find. What I do want to say is you can actually again, if you are into astrology and you're starting to look at things, you can Google how this affects you. This has come up for me. When I Googled how the basket affected my chart, I could not believe it was like so accurate, like ridiculously accurate. So I can't do one for every single person, and I'm not a trained astrologer, so I wouldn't be able to do that for you. I can give you the basics and get you to also just understand collectively what we're looking at, and on a personal level, understanding that we have to look at our deep-seated belief systems around our worthiness in whichever way it's presenting in your life. If you find astrology complicated, then break it down to simplistic forms and go, okay, what areas am I being tested with worthiness now? What areas are showing up in my life testing me with worthiness? Because that's where you need to make the shift. Is it relationships? Is it finances? Is it career? Is it physical, like your self-worth around your physical appearance? Whatever it is, that's where you're going to look at. Okay. And again, with the fostering creative ideas and things like that, it's a time to go, what have I put on the back burner? What am I wanting to do that is a creative endeavor that I have not engaged with? Because it's going to give us the opportunity to then engage with that. Okay, so let's have a quick sip of tea, and we are going to move on to some of the questions. Right. So I've chosen very specific questions here. The first question I kind of want to ask is, what is ending in our collective experience? Right? So what are we looking at? What are we needing to be prepared for in our collective experience that's ending? Please, Kelso. That's interesting. Okay, we've got 4 cards out. We've got 2 nines, right? Endings. Nines. You got the 9 of wands and the 9 of cups, right? So the wounded warrior and wish fulfillment. And you've got the the knight of cups and the knight of pentacles. Okay. So intuitively for me, this is saying that there's a collective struggle around here. What it takes to achieve what we want, right? It's a collective struggle of, I'm being told that fight of my wishes versus your wishes. right? The lack of community that can create, the segregation and separation that can create, that it's my needs and my wants are more important than yours. That kind of energy is showing up here. And I'm finding and I'm feeling from this that this is saying that coming to an end. The idea that when we live as beings, energetic beings, where we are all intrinsically connected, it becomes very difficult to live with that ideology. That doesn't mean you don't get what you want, right? It just means that how sometimes we execute things to get what we want and the way we go about it needs to differ in order for it not to be detrimental to others. That's very much the energy I'm going with. Like, don't go and plant a nuclear plant in the middle of farmland, right? It's that kind of energy. Yes, you want to build a nuclear plant. Yes, you want to do this, but destroying farmland is not the way to do it. It's a really basic, generic energy, but that's kind of the energy that they're saying. It's also, there's an understanding of what I want is not the wounded warrior has gone through serious battles, like really, really fought the good fight, right? And has had to go through some of them, but has come out the other side exhausted, spent, like, I'm done. I've gotten to where I've needed to be, but I'm tired. This energy carries the energy of, actually, you know what? My dreams are within reach. I can achieve what I want to achieve. I don't feel like this is saying that I think it's a complete opposite of saying that your dreams are going to be a struggle. I think this is a complete opposite of it. And we're going into an age where the consciousness changes, and as a collective, once consciousness changes, the vibration automatically rises. So energetically we won't be carrying the heaviness that we've been carrying for a while, because as a collective we've carried a serious heaviness for a very, very long time. So I think that is coming into our reality as something that is easy to manage. Now, this is the execution I'm talking about, the Knight of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups. This is about this Knight of Pentacles takes a while, slow and steady, but he wins the race. He gets there, right? For me, this is saying as a collective that there is no more instant gratification. That understanding that we put the work in and we have to take the time and to get to where we need to be, it's very much about there not being instant gratification. We are an instant industry. We're an instant country. We're an instant planet. We're a society where if it doesn't happen yesterday, then it's just unacceptable, right? What that does is it places demands on every single person in the chain that it needs to provide that end result, right? It's an unhealthy way to live. It's an unhealthy way to be energetically. Okay, first of all, it creates demanding energy, which is not pleasant, but also a lot of disappointment and resentment when things don't happen the way we expect them to be. And it also creates a sense of entitlement. So I think the collective is really turning away from that and going, you know what? Let's do the work. Let's put it in. Let's do what we need to do, and let things come to us as and when they need to. The Knight of Cups is an interesting one because all Kelso is saying to me is follow your heart. I feel like with the shift of this, remember we're going into the age of Aquarius. We've got all of these big energies playing on the outskirts as well. So this basket is just one little like piece of the big puzzle. It's a big little piece, but there are a million other things playing around in the universe, and 99% of them we don't even know what they are, but they're still there, right? Um, this is saying follow your heart. I feel like we're going to have a lot more going back to creatives, going back to artists, musicians, the food growers, the nature lovers. It's that kind of energy, because the fast-paced energy that we've created now is not sustainable. It's not sustainable. There is way, way, way too much energetic burnout in our society at the moment. And I feel like this is saying we're returning to a time where people valued skills, where people valued expertise, and it isn't all about consumerism, is what I'm being told. Okay, so there's a big shift around that, and your worth is not going to be based on how quickly you can put something out, or the cheapest price, or that kind of energy. It's going to be a big shift into something very different. Okay, right. So the next question is a cool question. How can I balance my personal creative power with the needs of society? So let's see what comes out. How do we balance our creative power with the needs of society? The universe is not messing around. It's like, step up, bitch. Okay, let's have a look. Major Arcana here. Okay. Gosh, a lot of Major Arcana. Okay, right. Okay, let's start with this. So we've got the Emperor, the Five of Cups, the Devil, and the Moon. Okay, so how are we managing our creative power? We're stepping into our power. We're stepping into it, right? With the Five of Cups here, the Five of Cups is all about regrets and spilt milk, crying over spilt milk, really. Okay, I feel like this is saying with the Devil between the Five of Cups and the Moon, it's saying don't be tempted to play into your regrets of the past, and don't be tempted to play into your fears. Okay, strategize, get clear on what you want, and move forward with it, because the devil energy is very much about being pulled back into, right? And it is our own control. If you look at these guys, they're attached to each other, and that they could actually, their hands are free, they could actually release themselves from that, but they're choosing to stay stuck there. So I think that this is saying that a lot of major arcana here. There are three big energies, right? So that's the universe going, I'm not stuttering. I'm getting involved here. It's calling for us to really step into our power. The Emperor, Aries energy, okay? Bear, this is the overarching energy. This is about us getting clear and strategizing. Okay, now I know that creative work is not our creative power. Creative power is not just about actually creativity like painting and all of that. It's the power, the manifestation power we have to create our realities, right? It's saying step away from the past. Don't be scared. Don't be tempted to play small by your fears. Don't be tempted to look back on past mistakes, past failures. Everything can be learned from, right? There's an energy of intuition, a huge energy of intuition with the moon. And I kind of feel like it's saying, if you are able to be refrained from this temptation, what will be revealed to you, because remember, the moon is about what's hidden. So you can't see what is coming, but you're not going to be able to see, or you're not going to be getting the good stuff that's coming if you're playing into the temptation. So they're saying kind of plan for success. That's basically it. Use your creative power to manifest and to plan for success and whatever it is that you're trying to do, whether it's you wanting to set up community stuff. And I say that because the Three of Cups is a card of community. So what I'm going to say about that is that to me is saying that a lot of us are going to be going into altruism. A lot of us are going to be going into charity works, and also just creating work that lifts the energy of and the vibration of the collective, right? With the Wounded Warrior. So that can be anything. That can be anything from an art class to doing spiritual work, light work, anything like that. Okay. And it's saying you need to plan for success, and plan when you are making your plans, plan with the community in mind. And I kind of feel like one of the reasons why we failed in the past, I'm just getting this feeling, so I'm going to pass it on, the message that I'm getting. The reason we failed in the past is simply put because we focused on our own desires. We focus on our own desires. So if these two work together, they get themselves off of there real quick. But they're so focused on the fact that they are trapped, that they individually are trapped. Okay? And I feel like when we start thinking bigger than ourselves, that's when we really do get to become the better versions of ourselves in this energy. So look at where your worthiness with this basket energy is being tested. Where do you think you have imposter syndrome about taking your light and shining it in a bigger way, making more of an impact on people? Because that's kind of where you're at and what you're being asked to do. Okay, right. So I'm changing to the Witch Everyday Witch Tarot, and we're going to look at what core spiritual values and innovative ideas are we needing to prioritize. So let's just focus for the moment. Let's just focus on the core spiritual values. What are the core spiritual values that we need to focus on, please, Kelso? Core spiritual values. Any day now. Is this the wrong deck? Are you saying no, it's not? Okay. Hermit. Ace of Cups. Yeah. Okay, bottom of the deck is Justice. That's what we don't see coming, right? So I feel like the Justice card is saying, step up into this space, right? And you get exactly what you are wanting. Justice. Remember, justice and karma, understand, guys, justice and karma are not about what's it called? Punishment, right? Karma, by definition, is an equal response to something you've put out into the energy. You get what you put out is what you get back in. That is your karma. And sometimes you've put out something shitty and you get a karmic lesson that comes back in at you to teach you that what you did was shitty, right? Other times, you've done something really fabulous and you get something fabulous in return. So I'm going to say that just be aware of that. Be aware of that, because that's the energy we can't see. Under the deck, for me, is the energy that we can't see, and that's justice. So, as everybody's saying, the Tower and the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords intrinsically lying, cheating, stealing, fine. I mean, none of us want to be that person, let's be honest. You wouldn't be watching YouTube videos on readings and things like that on how to improve our lives if that was the kind of person we wanted to be. However, if you are, do what you dig. Karma, right? But with the Tower and the Seven of Swords, the Seven of Swords also speaks to doing things your own way. I kind of feel like he is stealing the swords so that he doesn't have to fight. Sorry, excuse me. I've got hiccups. And I hate hiccups. I kind of feel like the Tower is saying you're no longer going to be able to work to your own benefit entirely. That doesn't mean that you can't make money for yourself and pay your bills. Okay, please remember, we're talking about a massive shift in collective energy, guys. We're not just talking about a little new moon that you can plant your seeds for the next 6 months and blah blah blah. We are talking about a collective shift here. This is no longer going to work. We will fail dismally as a society and as individuals if we continue to act from a place of self-serving. It's that simple. The universe is clearly saying, I'm not stuttering. Work together, right? And here we have, spiritual cause. Remember, we're talking about spiritual values and beliefs, right? The Hermit, the Ace of Cups, and again, the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles again. The Hermit. Time and reflection. Meditation, healing, all of that energy. The Hermit traditionally carries a torch. That is the torch of wisdom. Okay. It is using our wisdom to create a beginning that everybody is going to make everybody emotionally fulfilled. I think it's also saying to us that on some level we need to stop being so self-serving on a daily basis. And this is not a judgment. We all do it. It's human nature. Okay. That's not to say, also, I do want to just put a little T's and C's in here. That is not to say that you get people to use and abuse you or allow them to use and abuse you. This is saying that our thinking needs to change in a way that I've got this and I love sharing. So I'm going to share this with this person, that person, and the next person. Right? There's an energy of us, not that we have to do ourselves down or go without, but whatever it is, it's about us collectively working together to create an environment that we all really want to live in, a world that we want to live in. Right? There's no hurriedness in this. The Knight of Pentacles, again, slowest moving knight, but he shows up and he does what he needs to do. It's that simple. So I think our core values are about going back to community, a sense of community, one where we don't react to things, we respond to them, because we take that moment and we go, my energy's aligned, I'm fine. they've responded their way. Let's just see how, there's no reactive, just a stupid idea. Like Kelsey was giving me this image of like road rage, where somebody be rushing, and there'll be a road rage incident, and then someone pulls out a gun and someone gets shot. Like, that's a reaction, right? A dramatic reaction, but it's happening more and more because people are not managing their energy management, right? There's going to be an importance, and I feel this very strongly, and I've seen it already in a lot of people, of going back to basics, of going back to stabilizing our vagus nerve, of stabilizing ourselves, of learning to live from a place of balance and fairness and taking care of ourselves energetically so that we are better versions of ourselves. Okay, so that no matter what anybody throws at us, we are not responding by going like kung fu on their asses. Okay, it's very much that kind of energy. Our values are going to be far more community based and far more focused on emotional fulfillment rather than financial fulfillment, because at the end of the day, the financial fulfillment comes when there is not such a great sense of have and have not, and lack and abundance. There's that energy as well that comes from a space of abundance, from a space of self-fulfillment and energetic fulfillment, right? That feeling of contentment and emotional fulfillment with what we have. Okay. Right. Okay. So now with the energies collapsing, I'm going to ask the question: Okay, with all the old systems collapsing, what are we? Lots of nuts. What are we being called to rebuild, please? Okay. What are we called? So we've already got the death card out here. So change. Change is essential. Learning that. Okay, sorry. Hold on. I don't take flippers. I take jumpers. Comes down to work, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like there's one more. Also, yeah, here we go. We literally have the world card, like if ever. I kind of feel like this here. This is a twofer, so I'm going to use it for this here. Right. We've got the death card. Extreme change needs to happen. The system needs to fall in order for us to move forward more clearly, because this is fast-moving action, right? The Knights of Swords. So now we've had three Knights. We've had the Knight of Pentacles twice. We've had the Knight of Cups, and we've had the Knight of Swords. The only one we haven't had, and in this case, I'm going to say this, that is that in-out energy. It can be very not just sporadic, very not intermittent, unreliable energy. Okay, so all of the Knights that have shown up, especially the most consistent, which is the Pentacles, has shown up twice now. So we need to pay attention to that. This is saying that with the end of this, we get a chance to, in quite a speedy way, once we've gotten clear on things, take action moving forward in the direction that we want to go. Right? So we need to be prepared for that. When all of these things start coming, and we're watching things happen all the time. We're watching systems fall, countries going into this, and wars happening, and it is all a part of the bigger picture. As much as we don't want to admit that and think about that, but it is the truth. So we're watching all of this play out around us. Now we need, as a collective, and we do this individually, but if we all focus on the core energies that I've spoken about, we all get to the same place, just in our own ways. Let's be clear about that. We can't execute everything the same way. We're not the same people. Okay? So this is about them moving forward. Again here. The ending of the old system. This is endings, cycles, new beginnings. Victory after the ending. You can see the wreath there. There's the victory wreath. Like on the whole card. Like all the way around. Right? So it's about coming out of this successfully. However, what I want to say is it's also about building a new world. Queen of Wands, Queen of Pentacles, world. Do you notice that all three of these cards are feminine energies? The two endings in the past are masculine energies. We've got three feminine energies playing here. We've got three energies on this card. There is an energy to the power of three with woman. Okay, I'm just going to say it. I believe this is not everyone's belief. The triple goddess, however you want to see it, right? The feminine is rising, and she's going to succeed. So with this here, this is know your worth. Shine your light in whichever way that you can do it. Do not hold back. Do you see this massive light standing here next to her? Right? She's pulled to the light. She is not moving away from the light. She's actually, her body is slightly turned towards the light. Turn to your light. Turn to your creativity. Turn to the gifts that you have, whatever they are. You make beautiful furniture. Keep it up. We all need homes that feel like sanctuaries. You do gardens. Fabulous. Teach people how to grow food, how to grow herbs, how to do this. Create beautiful spaces outside. We need it. Gaia is there to support us. We love that. Write a book. Do a podcast. Do a YouTube channel. Whatever it is, step up. Right? The Queen of Pentacles says, is very self-assured. Right? And she's also in it for the long term. So she's like, again, do it so that there is a benefit to the greater good, because you'll be rewarded financially if your intentions are not solely focused on commercialism and consumerism. Okay? The new dawn comes. I feel like this is like one of those middle cards where the new world comes straight after the old world exits. The patriarchal system, the matriarchal system. There is a massive shift, guys. This is not a joke. I'm going to say to you, however it applies to you in your life, get clear. This is not going to be the time. I said to you on a personal level, this really does look at your deep-seated issues around worthiness. You don't have to be an astrology genius to work it out. See what is playing out in your life. What is this Mercury here bringing to you in terms of challenges, especially stuff that cues your emotions, right? So your challenges will be highlighted to you by emotional triggers. That's what Mercury is doing for you at this point in time with Cancer, right? The basket is saying to you, now look at those triggers and see what area of your life you lack your worthiness. They're working hand in hand at the moment. There's no coincidence that all of this is happening at the same time. You have to start lining things up and going, okay, actually, this is all working together. Okay, so guys, I'm going to love you and leave you there. I'm going to say to you that I hope that this has helped. I hope it puts into some perspective why you're going through everything that you're going through at the moment, because quite frankly, there's no polite way of saying this other than it's an absolute bloody shit show. And I wish you all the best. May the gods of old and new forever be in your favor. And may you get through this in one piece. Really. So I'm sending you all so much love. Also, just remember, Mercury does go direct, I want to say the 23rd of July, but then just please bear in mind that it still does have a 2-week shadow period. Okay, so the shadow period is where we get to reflect on what we've dealt with in this time frame, because apparently we don't get enough of it in the 2-week period or 3 week. It's actually been 3 weeks. This one's been 3 weeks, and it's really been kicking everybody's ass. So I'm sending you all so much love. Mwah, big loves. I hope that you have every success and that everything starts working out for you and that you find the answers that you are seeking. Have a beautiful rest of your week, my angels, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Big loves.